Hello and welcome to another episode of the Long Shot Podcast. I'm here with Davis, Patrick, Reed. Davis, how are we?
So good. We're so good.
I missed opportunity. Welcome to the follow through.
Yeah, there we go.
We're still working with the names, the logistics, if you will, but we're ironing out some details. We're getting there. It's just about continuing to develop and grow.
Always.
Brick by brick.
Yeah. I also like you always pass to me, ask how I'm doing. Sometimes it's hard. I got to do a better job being in tap with my emotions. Sometimes it's hard when I'm put on the spot. How am I doing? It gives me a chance to really reflect.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like so often that's like an automated response, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. I'm good, but I actually challenge both of us to be a little bit more vulnerable than that.
I agree.
Step outside just, what you think society wants you to say, but instead, like you said, get a little more in tune with what's in here.
Good or bad. If the day's going really well, then give me more than good. Like, I'll do a better job of, you know what? Actually, I had a great breakfast this morning. Got a little sun. I'm feeling great.
You got some sun today, too.
Just a little bit. I need to get some more after this. Or if I'm doing bad, we can talk about it, So I'll do a better job. If you keep passing these to me.
I don't know if this is really the setting to talk about it if it's going really bad. I feel like maybe you should seek maybe some professional help.
Right.
I think at one point we read an ad for BetterHelp. No free ads. I don't know if they're still helping us out, but that could be a route that you could look. Yeah. Just because I do really encourage, if you do have some issues, then it's totally understandable and absolutely fine. Yeah. But you should also take the necessary steps to search out professional help.
I have something to say on this too, and now this is just turning into an ad for BetterHelp. But this could be anybody, not just BetterHelp. I actually think you should look into therapy even if things are going really well.
I do too.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not something you go to just when things are bad.
Could not agree more.
Yeah. Anyway, we don't need to. Things aren't going really bad, and I don't expect things to be going really bad anytime soon. You know why? Because I've been cold showering.
Way to put a bow on it. Bring it all the way back around.
Since we spoke, was this 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I think we talked about it. Every time I've showered, which is essentially every day, I can't think of any days I'm skipping a shower. I'm going
hopefully
cold.
Multiple times a day if you're working out.
Actually, when I was a kid, I would take like 3 a day, and I would be in there for like half an hour, and my parents would get so upset with me because my dad would be like, do you want to pay the water bill?
What were you doing in there for?
Oh, it was just a moment of reflection. I'd sit on the ground. You ever sit in the shower?
No.
Seriously?
No.
Oh, you got to do it. Dude, do it tonight. Seriously. You sit in the shower, just let it fall on you.
This has gone to a weird place.
Yeah, no, I'm serious.
It's great that you've been cold showering. That's great.
In fact,
Goggins would be really proud.
We had a really special moment. I think I'm comfortable enough to share on this pod. I had just gotten through with a cold shower. And you called me 2 minutes after I got out, and you were in the cold tub. And you were like, hey, I'm about to do a polar plunge. I just wanted you to see it. And that's when I knew this pod was destined for greatness, because we talked about holding ourselves accountable, committing to cold showers, and then we were totally aligned.
Yeah, I'd like to paint a picture of why I called you. I was getting in the cold tub, which is standard procedure, recovery procedure, and similar to how you've implemented cold showers, as I've spoken about, have been trying to implement cold plunges into my, not quite daily, but maybe 3 times a week.
Cold tub, and you're just going head under.
Full under the water. See how long you can hold your breath in, I don't know, probably 37-degree water. It's cold.
Yeah.
Maybe not 30, probably 40. Probably 40, around 40. Low 40s. Anyways, I had gone in the cold tub, which I do more than 3 times a week. I do that probably 5, 6. And I was teetering on the edge of if I wanted this to be a cold plunge day. I didn't know if I wanted to fully dive in. And honestly, the back of my mind, I was like, I probably should make this a cold plunge day, but I don't want to. So my reaction was, I'm going to call somebody that can hold me accountable.
And I got the call?
So I called you.
Wow.
I FaceTimed you, actually. And I was like, hey, Dave, I just want to let you know.
I got to watch it.
I'm about to cold plunge. And you had just gotten out of a cold shower.
Literally, hair still wet.
Yeah. And at that moment, it was like, okay, well, now I have to
It was special.
plunge. And we both got better because of it.
I'm honored I got the call, and how fitting that, I had. So I think you asked me, I would challenge you to go 30 seconds, and you got like 17.
It's really hard. I mean, I've gotten better. Like the first time I did it was like 7-8 seconds underwater, because your like heart starts to speed up. You want to breathe, obviously, because your whole body is like compressing because of the cold temperature. Yeah, it's just challenging. It's not easy, you know. But if it was easy, everyone would do it.
True.
Yeah.
The cold shower is not easy either.
I think you actually tried to dispute, I think when we were talking on the phone, that the cold shower was more difficult, and that's just not even comparable. It's not.
Well, it's longer.
I mean, yeah, but think about your just standard typical shower, how cold that water can get, like maybe a little bit colder than room temp. This is like an ice tub that you're submerging fully into.
Well, that's if you're in the shower, it's on you to hold yourself accountable and make the water cold. You know what I mean? Like you could go lukewarm and call it a cold shower. In the cold tub, you're not determining the temperature, but I'm fully committing. I want you to know that.
I'll allow it. Anyways.
Well, that was fun. One more just totally random thing I need to ask you about, because we briefly talked about it yesterday, and you've told me this before, but I forgot about it, and I'm fascinated by it. Your TV restrictions as a kid growing up. You were limited to what, an hour a day?
Oh my gosh, significantly less than that. It was 30 minutes a week, Davis. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mama Robinson, who obviously is an avid listener of the podcast, and this is not an exaggeration. I've told people this before, and they're like, no way, that's not possible, blah, blah. I promise you, I'm the youngest of three, so I have two older siblings. We, as a family, as a sibling unit, we got to watch 30 minutes of TV a week. And it was Saturday mornings, and we would watch Arthur, and we would do it religiously. And that was it. That was the only TV time, screen time that we got. That was until I was probably like 8 or 9. And then we ended up moving, and, you know, everything just kind of slowly, I got a little more TV time, a little more screen time, so on and so forth. But I will say what that ultimately led to was just a lot of time playing outside, playing with the neighborhood kids, which honestly I think, today now that's a lost art.
Kids these days.
Yeah, no, I hate to do the old head thing. I've done it with basketball, complaining about the new generation. Now I'm going to do it about just like your standard neighborhood kids. But like, do people play Manhunt anymore? I don't know. I used to play Manhunt all the time.
Flashlight tag.
Capture the
flag.
Yes, these were like childhood staples that we would play all the time.
Yeah.
And I just don't think people do it anymore. Snow days. Oh my gosh. Snow days in the Northeast, we would play snow football.
Yeah.
All the time. That was the go-to.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure people just like sit inside and play Fortnite. It's like another excuse to play more Call of Duty.
We're starting to sound old.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever.
I just cannot believe. I mean, knowing your mother, it makes sense, and I do understand the benefits of it. But 30 minutes a week is incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because it's like we didn't know anything else, so that now that's ridiculous. Yeah. Like I look at my phone and how much screen time I have a day. I'm embarrassed to admit. I think that's all of us. Probably not as much as you, because you have to live on that thing.
I'm legitimately 8 to 10 hours.
Stop
a day.
it.
Probably. My phone's recording right now, so I can't check.
Gracious.
I'm gonna check after this.
But yeah, I mean, back then it was like that's all we knew. Yeah. But yeah.
What was your 30 minutes, Arthur?
It was Arthur. Yeah. That was the 100% go-to. I don't think I think it like slowly progressed. I don't think I was watching Arthur when I was 9 or 8.
Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, no, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Arthur is a fantastic show. What was he? I think he's an aardvark, maybe.
It feels right.
Arthur the aardvark. Oh, it's great stuff. But yeah, Saturday mornings though, that was the go-to.
Yeah. God, that's beautiful.
It wasn't the same for you out in Kansas, I'm guessing?
No. I mean, I remember very strict, like no TV, no phone, no computer rules when I got home from school. Had to do homework before any of that could happen. But
I didn't have a phone until high school.
8th grade, high school. Really.
High school, yeah. Freshman year, I remember I got a phone like a couple weeks into my freshman year.
So
now, I mean, once again, not to do this, but like nowadays, kids have phones.
Oh yeah.
4th grade, 5th grade.
And
I actually understand there's like some kind of like a safety component to it as well.
So you can talk to your kids.
I do get it, but still.
I remember 8th grade, I wanted a cell phone so bad, and my friends were starting to get them, and I was the oldest. So you were the youngest,
Yeah.
so it's maybe a little bit different. Although I got one before you in 8th grade. And so my parents weren't ready for that jump yet. Just they didn't want me that connected to friends. And, so I finally convinced them. But the rule was I had to pay for my own cell phone bill as an 8th grader, Duncan. So it's like, the only money I have as an 8th grader is money that my parents have given
to you.
You know what I mean? Like at birthdays, holidays.
Yeah, but it's the principal, Davis.
Right. So
you have to work for it. You have to do some chores. You have to.
What we did is we built a little economy in the Reed household because they were they were giving me money and I was giving it right back to them for the cell phone bill.
Honestly, quality move by them.
So
some free labor around the house.
For a year, I did that. I was paying them like $30 a month for a year.
That's a steep.
That's what the cell phone bill was. Sprint. Shout out to Sprint.
Yeah.
Now merged with T-Mobile, but unlimited texting. So I was just a rampage texter.
Yeah, Sprint's a big Kansas thing.
Yeah. Based in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Headquarters in Kansas City. So yeah, I paid for cell phone bill for the first year, and then they caved eventually. But then my siblings get phones in like 6th, 7th. It's just the struggles of being the oldest child. Anyway, I do have a basketball question for you.
What do we got?
I actually have 2 basketball questions for you. First one, I was thinking about this the other day during your warm-up. When the starting lineups happen, all the lights go down. Mm-hmm. In Miami, you guys pump the heat, the fire.
Yeah.
Which is, you can feel it in the stands.
Yeah.
So I'm certain you can feel it down on the court. There's all these, drummers going around. It's just a lot of noise.
There's a lot of theatrics.
And then lights come back on, you go play a basketball game. You don't get to take another shot in between those things happening.
Yeah.
That has to that has to throw off your equilibrium a little bit, right?
I mean, not really. I mean, as much as, you just kind of get used to it. You know what I mean? It's like, it is a little different than college, but really not that much. I mean, we had like the same sort of theatrics in college as well. I think the bigger one is, like, I have my warm up, which I shoot 2 hours before the game.
Yeah.
2 hours before tip time. So like I shoot, get my shots up, and then I like go and get treatment, whatever, get like body work, all that sort of stuff, watch film, do all my prep in that 90 minutes before we come back out at 30 minutes before the game. I think that one is actually more of like when I come back out at 30, then I have to like get warm again.
Yeah.
The little break after our like layup lines and all like shooting around and the start of the game isn't really that big of a thing. Imagine someone like Tyler. He has to go through all that, then sit on the bench, and then find the way to get like loose. And people just develop routines. Like you'll see the first time out before Tyler checks in, he's like getting loose, doing whatever he needs to do to like warm his body up, because you got to be able to check in and hit the ground running for sure.
But his eyes get to adjust on the bench. That's really what it's the light off and on 30 seconds before tip that. That's the thing that trips me out. You
know what, man? Maybe you just weren't cut out for.
I wasn't built for it.
Yeah, you're just not built for it.
What was the Jack Harlow clip we talked about yesterday? Some guys are just betas. Maybe I was just a basketball beta. My eyes weren't built for it. I have to live with that.
That's an interesting observation that you go to a game and these are the types of things that you pick up on.
Because I'm like once the lights come back on, I have this moment of like, oh God, it's bright in here. And then imagine having to go shoot a basketball a minute later. I can't believe it.
Honestly, I'd never even thought about that until you just bring it up.
Here's another segue for you.
Right.
Speaking of beta energy, you showed the opposite of that in Oklahoma City because you were barking at the bench, and it was amazing. It was one of my favorite moments of you on the basketball court in recent memory. Seriously.
What was – because you weren't at that game in person. So what did – I'm assuming you were watching it on I'm gonna
League Pass? I'll pull it up right now.
But what's the view – like what did you see of that interaction?
I saw you hit your third three.
Because I don't know what's cut. You know what I mean? I don't know where it's cut so people at home can watch or
you hit your. I'm pulling this up on my laptop right now. You hit your third three. Oklahoma City's in drop coverage, so you're getting good looks coming off these handoffs from Bam. You hit your third, and then you can just see a quick bark at the bench, but you're clearly saying like he needs to get up or something along those lines, and you give a little hand gesture. That's all that the camera shows. But it's enough to get the context clues of what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, basically, at this point in my career and at this point in the season, I expect most teams, their big men, to be blitzing the ball screen, handoffs, whatever it is, or at the very least be up at the point of the screen. Like very rarely, there's only a few teams that will be like all the way back, and that's because they have like guys that are elite at chasing and disrupting shots, all that sort of stuff. So in this context, I had already made it 2, and I come off the third, and they were still not up, which was almost at that point, it's
disrespectful.
Not disrespectful, but it's just
like, what are we doing?
It's bewildering. There's some confusion there around like why is this guy not up at the level of the screen? So I shot it and I made it, and then I was just hinting to their bench that maybe they would probably behoove them to make some sort of an adjustment around having their big up at the point of the screen, so I can't just come off and shoot open threes.
Did they make the adjustment?
I think they did. I think what ultimately ended up happening is the adjustment that they made was they played smaller and started switching, or at least like in the next span of minutes they did, because having the big, the 5-man just be back in the paint was not going to continue to be successful.
Who were you directing the message to?
Just the organization, the Thunder organization. Nobody in particular. It was more of just, like I said, me just trying to share with them that maybe an adjustment was probably fitting at that point.
And did anyone acknowledge it? Like, give you you know what? Thank you.
The ref actually acknowledged it. He came over. He's like, "Don't do that. Like, enough. You're done." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. My bad."
But so no one on the Thunder bench was like, "Actually, you know what? That's a good idea. Thank you."
We didn't really get to the point of having a back and forth. It was more of just a suggestion that was put out there.
Say it and leave.
And I was just kind of like, you know what? If it's received and accepted, then great. And if not, then also great, because I'll just keep coming off and letting it fly. But I didn't get a tech on this one, which is actually interesting because I got a tech recently.
One of your first, was this your first
legitimate, just at a ref tech? All my other techs have been double techs.
Yes.
One of which is well documented, the one with Mo, and I think the other one was with Hamidou Diallo of Detroit, which is a little bit of we had some extracurricular stuff after the whistle.
What was that? What was that one?
I kind of bumped him, and then I threw the ball at him, and then we both got teed up. Yeah, that was in Detroit.
That was a fun one.
But yeah, this was the first one against the Minnesota. This is a while ago now.
No, it was fairly recently.
Yeah, but it was the first one that was actually just like me getting a tech for being on the ref.
You got fouled?
Yeah, like he missed a call, which refs do. Refs are human beings too. They make mistakes.
You also are used to at this point.
Yeah, but it was also the thing that bothered me was how it was handled moving forward. I didn't disrespect him or say any sort of disparaging language or any sort of cursing.
You would never.
Honestly, no. In this, I would, but in this case, I actually didn't. And he still, I thought it was a quick draw on the tee, very much so. And I told him after, I'm like, look, do you know how many technicals I have this year? I was like, I have 0. Which is a lie. I actually had already had one, but it was the Diallo one, which doesn't really count. I was like, it's ridiculous that you would tee me up. All I was trying to do was have a conversation with you. And he was done with the interaction. He's like, we're not doing this. I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, if this was somebody else, you would be willing to have this conversation. And that is kind of what set him off.
Do you guys know that, though? Like, these refs have to know player reputation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we get told all the time that refs watch film the same way we watch film. They know tendencies. And then also on top of that, they know who has a little bit of a temper, who gets more leeway. That's the thing that bothers me is that I feel like if that was a different player, that would have been handled differently by the ref.
Right.
But, whatever. You live and you learn.
You also think you got to remember these refs, it reminds me of all the complaining that these college refs are getting right now in March Madness.
Yeah.
Because there have been some questionable calls late. But is it right to say that the NBA for a basketball referee it's like the NBA for a player too? Like everybody's working their way up.
Yeah. I mean, they have a very, very complex grading system. I'm pretty sure, I don't want to butcher this, but I think Monty McCutcheon is the head, and he basically oversees, they evaluate every single call that's made. They evaluate every single call, every single position that they're on in the floor. So if they're not getting to their spots, to make the correct calls and be at the right angles. like they're getting deducted, and there's a grading system. It's almost like promotion and relegation. So if you're one of the bottom tier refs, then you get demoted to the G League. And if you're one of the best in the G League, then you get promoted. And there's actually, funny enough, I think new this year, there's actually now like two-way refs. So they'll do something in the G League, and then they'll be like the third guy on a staff or in a crew for an NBA game to get some NBA experience, and they go back and forth. And eventually, if they like prove themselves, then they'll be full-time NBA officials.
Yeah. So these guys obviously aren't like they're trying to do a good. They're trying.
Of course, yeah.
Not just for the integrity of the game, but they also are being held accountable.
Their paychecks are on the line as well. I do think, and I've seen this take a handful of times of like, it would be really interesting to have refs have post-game press conferences the same way players do.
Yeah.
Because they do like the 2-minute report or whatever the day after games where they like break down the league office releases it. And it's like kind of like a public.
This one wrong.
These were the mistakes, so on and so forth. But if you wanted to establish some like personal accountability, that would be an interesting route.
Yeah, or even post referee stats the way you post NBA player stats.
That would be really interesting.
I mean, you could do. Why couldn't you?
I imagine the thought is that
Whistles per game.
Well, not only that, but like you could actually get it down to like percentages that they, the calls are correct. You could like break it all the way down. But I imagine the idea behind not doing that is that you don't want to like publicly rate out a crew of like, this is a bad crew. This, you know what I mean? Like there's like, because that's so objective to that point. Now there's like the subjective side of like, oh, this guy's a good ref, this guy's a bad ref. And there are reputations that exist. Yeah. The same, whatever, the same way players. But like, if you made it that objective, I feel like that would be like a slippery slope.
Yeah, that makes sense. Last referee question. Do they jump? Does it carry over to the NCAA? Like are college refs trying to get to the NBA?
I don't think so. I don't know, but I don't think so.
Build your career in the NCAA.
Yeah, we should have Monty McCutcheon on at some point.
Yeah, I am interested about this.
Yeah, Monty's a man, great dude. Really knows how to dress as well. Well, depending on what side of the fence you sit on, he's known for his egregious suits and outfits. But
love that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a different game, right? There's different rules. It's different things are emphasized. So I can't imagine. I'm sure maybe some refs have aspirations of being an NBA ref, but I think it's like you stay in that space because the NBA official associate, like they have their own union, like they have it's like a tight knit thing.
Got it. I mean, you guys have a players union,
right?
But college players join it.
That's true. That's a good point, Davis. I'm confused as to are you like lobbying for?
No. I'm just curious. I'm curious if the best reputation referee in college is like time
wanting to move to the
step
NBA.
My game up to the NBA.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That'd be cool if they got drafted like college players.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
There's like an official draft.
By crews, like NBA crews become teams, and we're taking this guy from the Pac-12.
That would be interesting.
He's joining our crew.
So, yeah, they like roll a highlight tape of all of his calls.
Yes.
That's the one thing about NBA refs do it too, but nobody gets more excited to call offensive fouls than college refs.
Yes.
And you can almost see a play developing where it's like, this guy slides over, he's about to take a charge, and you can just see the excitement in a college ref to just make everything about him in this exact moment, and it's going to be like, going the other way.
Runs out on the court.
Like runs right to center court and just does a giant hand motion, like offensive foul. It's like, all right, like whether the call was right or wrong, and it's usually wrong, sorry, but they just get so excited to have the opportunity to call an offensive foul that they just disregard what the right call is, and they just make it about them in that moment. So just a reminder, it's not about you. It's not about the refs. It's just not.
I do like the loud referee calls, I will be honest, but when they're right. When they're right. All right, that's all I really had to talk to you about, to be honest.
Is there anything else?
I mean, I guess we should do a March Madness update. This is gonna come. This comes out after your boys play.
Yeah, Friday. So hopefully Michigan's in the Elite Eight. I have a great feeling that they will be.
Yeah.
And really hoping this ages well. But
we'll turn this into a March Madness update / long shot feature. We'll shout out Michigan making it to the Sweet 16, St. Peter's, who has just been a ton of fun to watch.
Yeah. My boy Doug. Dougie.
I saw he did a Buffalo Wild Wings ad. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He got a bunch of wings in front of
He
him.
had like sauce on his
Yeah.
face.
Someone posted it and was like, how did they try to sell us that NIL was going to be bad for college basketball?
It's unbelievable.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
This guy's rising to stardom. Now he gets Buffalo Wild Wings sponsorship.
What I spoke a little bit about our interview with or conversation with Vic. What did you think of the conversation with Vic?
I tell him this in the interview, so you've hopefully already heard this, but I was legitimately taken back by his just mental strength. Guy's been through it. I mean, he defines it himself as the head of the snake in Indianapolis. It was his team, his city. They took LeBron to 7 in 2018 when LeBron had gone to 8 straight finals or whatever it was. And Vic was like leading the charge to almost dethroning him in the East. All-star, first team NBA. Like, he was a stud, still is a stud, but like he had reached the pinnacle of his career at that point. And then just everything gets derailed from a series of injuries. And he's just been battling for 3 years. But he was so optimistic. I'm turning this into like teasing the interview, but hopefully everyone's already listened to it.
Yeah.
But I was just blown away by how he's just so confident in himself, just optimistic, had such a good perspective on life.
Yeah.
It was genuinely impressive.
Missed opportunity from us to either have him sing or have you sing. The original idea
the
going
plan.
in is that we
blew it.
were going to be like, Vic, I'm sure in a lot of interviews people ask you to sing, but we actually want to change it up. We want to sing for you. Imagine if we did that and we just ripped into some like a cappella duet and just absolutely crushed it.
And we had nothing planned, so it
Yeah.
would have had to be on the spot.
No, that would have been special.
It would have been really special next time.
Yeah, a moment that was actually not so special, which we rehashed when we were leaving, is Davis had the audacity after this man fed us in his home, welcomed us into his home, fed us, which was completely unnecessary.
You're gonna say this out of context. but
Gave hours out of his day to spend with us.
Well, because
on an off day.
Because once we were done recording, we hung out for another hour.
Yeah.
and just talked about life.
Completely unnecessary by him. And in conversation before we're leaving, Davis has the gall to basically throw shade at him.
No.
By I understand the intentions of what you were saying.
It came out wrong.
But you basically were like, you're not a superstar, is what you said.
That's what it sounded like. Vic, I hope you're listening to this, and I hope I get the chance to clarify this with you. We were rehashing the series we were just talking about.
With LeBron,
the Cleveland series.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how Vic's, I think he says this in the interview, he said it off camera too, how there weren't any megastars in Indy at that point.
Yes.
Including himself. I mean, he was an all-star. He was first team NBA, again, all those things. But he admitted, like, he wasn't a mega star like LeBron, but they were such a good unit together. The locker room was so
it worked.
tight.
Came together.
It worked. So they almost took down the Cavs. And so I was just agreeing with that. I was like, yeah, you guys didn't have any superstars. And then what I said was, which came out wrong, I said, I mean, you were a superstar at that point. Which I understand sounds like, and I shouldn't have said it, I understand it sounds like I'm saying you're no longer a superstar, but you were at that point. What I meant was you had become a superstar at that point.
You had ascended to superstardom
you were first
by
team
then.
All-NBA.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
I think that qualifies you as a superstar.
All right.
But I understand. I will say he didn't react.
No, he didn't
to it.
react at all. But I had just noticed it in the moment. I was like, did Davis just throw shade at this man?
Yeah,
who
when
just...
we got in your car afterwards and you were like, dude, you were saying it. And he was like, do you know what I'm about? Or he said, do you know what I'm about to say? I was like, yeah, the superstar comment.
Nah, honestly, it was well received. I don't even think Vic noticed it. And also, you meant it in nothing but a positive way. I actually do now that I understand the context. You were clearly saying that he had ascended.
But I
to
caught myself
superstardom.
too as
Right.
I was saying it. I was like, this doesn't sound right.
Yeah, it probably doesn't bode well for us that you're throwing shades.
But
shade
we've
at
talked
our
about
guys.
this before. Once you're on the podcast, you're a friend for life.
Yeah,
So,
true.
Vic, I hope you understand.
I don't
you're
think
my
he
guy.
wants to be friends with
Yeah,
you,
right.
honestly.
No, but it's
unless you had sung to him, then maybe
I'm gonna
could have
do it next
flourished
time.
into something special.
I was gonna sing him Rainbow because
By Casey Musgraves,
Yeah, he
yeah.
sings it on Masked Singer.
that is a
and the
jam.
sky is fine.
Okay, we can be done. All right, well, this was the follow through.
Yeah,
Should we like hold it? Yeah, there you go. All right.
that's nice.
Yeah,
Bye.
follow through. Long Shot Podcast. Tune in next week. What do you say? Cheers.